Delta with Ann Kubrick's 189.9 FM, the Garden City radio station, the station of groove and style, style and groove. It depends on which one works for you first. Good morning again, and I hope you've had a wonderful day so far, waking up, getting to work, and I hope you've gotten to work safely. And for the next 45 minutes, 1 hour, you'll be able to partake in what we're going to discuss this morning. Obviously, the issue of the budget is very important, especially the area of the budget that concerns the Niger Delta region, the Niger Delta people, development, security, infrastructure, all of those things. And then, of course, it will still bring us back to the discussion of restructuring Nigeria. The budget, how it concerns Nigeria, how it concerns the Niger Delta people. Now, the budget, the total budget this year is high. The total budget is high this year. The areas in which the budget has, that's the budget of 2020 actually, and how it is broken down, and the areas of concern. Of course, every area concerns every state in Nigeria, whether it is the health area of it, or the education or security. But where we will concentrate this morning will be the area of Niger Delta, the Ministry of Niger Delta, the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, and also the amnesty program, security, and infrastructure, and so many other areas that the budget will touch. Now, I want to first of all call up. I'm looking at the screen. We want to look at how much is allocated to the Niger Delta region in terms of the Niger Delta Development Commission. We want to look in comparison to the Northeast Development Commission, based on this 2020 budget, and the assumption of the budget by the government is based on $57 per barrel. It's not really $57 per barrel on the market as of today, or what it will be in the future. So it is rounded off, give or take. The calculation of this 2020 budget is made on the fact that the sale of oil, which is where the revenue for the budget is coming from, is being sold at $57 per barrel. And we're told that the daily production of crude oil in Nigeria that is taken out of the Niger Delta is 2.18 million barrels per day. So if you want to know, therefore, how much the budget is based on per year, then you have to times that by 57 barrels times 2.18 million barrel per day times 300 and 365 or whatever days we have in the year. It then gives you a good idea. And the government has based the exchange rate of the dollar to the naira at 305 naira per dollar. So our budget, therefore, is 8.155 trillion. And oil and gas contributes, accounts, or gives, or is taken from the oil in the Niger Delta. So we have to then try and find out of this amount that is coming out of the Niger Delta, is it fair in terms of what the federal government is allocating to the so-called agencies that they have created according to federal government for whatever reason to put into the Niger Delta outside of what it is actually meant to put in the Niger Delta through infrastructure, through federal roads, through healthcare, through environment, through education, through housing, through transportation. Are we really getting what we are supposed to get? Are we really getting what is due the Niger Delta? And if we are not getting what is due the Niger Delta, how fair is this? Now, I have the summary of the budget. That's page 2. I want page 1 first. I have the summary on the screen in front of me, and I will look at that while the program is going on to make my point. The breakdown of the budget is difficult to get because something else is coming up. So I'll just go through just comparing what concerns the Niger Delta. I'm yet to see. We need to see the allocation in the budget to the NDDC. It's very important because we cannot talk if we're not seeing the figures. We need to be very, very clear that we're seeing the right figures. What's the problem? Why is it not coming up? Okay, so if the budgetary allocation to the NDDC is less, bearing in mind that the NDDC today is now under the Ministry of Niger Delta, and like I had said a week or 2 ago, when the argument started coming up, who agrees and who does not agree. Personally, I really don't think it is an issue whether the Niger Delta Development Commission is under the Ministry of Niger Delta or whether it is under the presidency or whether it is under the secretary to federal government. If it is under the Ministry of Niger Delta, for instance, and the minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta is a Niger Delta person, then he doesn't need to be told what should be done in his ministry, what he should do with the Niger Delta Development Commission. But bearing in mind that actually the Niger Delta Development Commission is not a development commission, I still maintain it is an intervention agency. Now, the ministry, therefore, of Niger Delta Is it really a ministry of Niger Delta? This is what we need to ask. And really and truly, it is our responsibility as the electorate, it is our responsibility as Niger Delta people to engage with the minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta. So far, we're grateful, at least I'm happy, that the minister of the Ministry of Niger Delta is a Niger Delta person, and therefore, if he's a Niger Delta person and he has the interest of the Niger Delta at heart, then the party he belongs to, as far as I'm concerned, should not be the issue. And what should be the issue is what is right that he must do for the Niger Delta region, because he is the minister of Niger Delta because of the fact that he is a Niger Delta indigene. So based on that, we want to find out if we think as a people that as people who are producing a very, very high percentage of the budget, the 8.155 trillion budget, as the major contributors to this budget, the injustice is so glaring when the major contributor has to share and partake almost on equal basis, if not less, safe, with people who are not contributing to this budget. There are states that are not contributing. There are sections of Nigeria that are not contributing to this budget. And when we find ourselves as Niger Delta people that we are receiving very minimal amount towards our development, towards our security, based on, in comparison to what we contribute towards the budget, we still have to go back to the discussion that we as a people in the Niger Delta, we have to insist and have to understand the need for this country to be restructured. If this country remains the way it is, and the way it is governed remains the same, and the way revenue is sourced remains the same way, and how this revenue is distributed also remains the same way, then quite honestly, the prospect of the Niger Delta ever being developed above this type of keep the Niger Delta down mentality, we will never get out of it. And the fact that our people, the Niger Delta people, need to get away from the idea and the concept that their development, our development of the Niger Delta, cannot be dependent on what political party we support. It cannot. Our security, our development, our justice and equity, the plan for our tomorrow must be dependent on what we have. Because it is from what we have that we will be able to achieve the things that we must achieve. I grew up in Abonima. I grew up in Port Harcourt. I saw the war. I know what these places were like before the war, and I know what it is like now. The reality is that even before the Civil War, There are places in Port Harcourt where there was pipe-borne water. I started my secondary school in Holy Rosary Girls Secondary School. It was a Catholic school. It's no longer a Catholic school, but it is still standing where it was before the war. We had pipe-borne water in the 70s, in the early 70s. Before the war, we had, in the 60s, we had pipe-borne water. In Holy Rosary, we had lights, not generator. We had lights in Holy Rosary. So I'm asking myself, if today Holy Rosary has to put up borehole, have we moved forward or have we moved backward? We've moved backward. So if we have moved backward and there is so much resources coming out of the Niger Delta region, what is wrong? There is something that is not right somewhere. What is that thing that is not right somewhere? It is very, very important that we are able to ask ourselves these questions as a people. It is when we ask ourselves this question as a people that we will be able to ask the politicians that we have given our powers to, our political powers to exercise on our behalf, that we have to ask them this question. And it is when we ask them these questions that we will be able to react on the answers that they give us based on what those answers are. If they are not effective answers, if they are not answers that is going to move us forward, then okay, right now what I'm seeing on the screen, because it is being brought up by one of the technicians with me, it is, let's go to the top. Okay, from 1. Okay, working and housing, let's keep going. Yeah, keep going. Let's keep going. I want to get to, okay, wait. Now, I'm looking at agriculture and rural development, 83 billion. Now, agriculture and rural development is very key for the future and the survival of any state, of any local government area, but definitely of the Niger Delta region and of Rivers State. So if we have a budget that has given agriculture and rural development 83 billion out of a budget of 8.155 trillion, I do not think that the government has placed importance, any kind of importance, on the agriculture and rural development, while they are calling that government, the people should invest and should go into agriculture and rural development, because it goes hand in hand, because agriculture is carried out mainly in the rural areas. And so when you carry out agriculture in the rural areas, then automatically development comes along with the agriculture. So personally, I think 83 billion for agriculture and rural development to the federal government is small. And then you now bear in mind that this 83 billion is supposed to reach out to 36 states. That's why we must restructure Nigeria. It's going to reach out to 36 states. Out of these 36 states, 19 is in the north. And out of these 19, 400 and something local government is in the north. And the South has 17 states and about 350 something local government areas. I do not think that if you are calling for agriculture and rural development and you have not made the states are not conducive. As we speak today, investors are not coming into Nigeria. Investors are pulling out of Nigeria. So there is no investment that is going to come in to any effective extent that will help agriculture and rural development. The Niger Delta Development Commission, 81 billion naira. Go on. Let us go to the Northeast. Let us look for the Northeast Development Commission. Okay. The Northeast Development Commission is 38 billion. And then the Niger Delta Development Commission is, let's go back. Okay. Is 81 billion. Now, we also have to bear in mind that the Niger Delta Development Commission is being owed. Right now, I don't have the figures offhand, but the Niger Delta Development Commission is being owed billions, if not trillions of naira over the years that the Niger Delta Development Commission has been on ground. So let us look, go up, yeah. Okay, wait. Let us look at, keep going. Okay, I think that is, all right. So that is the end. So now,